kindness is the opposite to stress and anxiety. If you give somebody an act of kindness, it stops you from feeling anxious when you do that. And I do feel like a lot of when I give, I feel so much better. If I help somebody and they benefit from it, it's not egotistical. It's not, oh, I did that. Because I feel when they say, oh, you've done this, it's not me. You've done it. I've helped you to see how to do it. I feel proud of them, and I feel glad that I've been able to help them to transform their lives.
Hello and welcome for Quite Packish podcast. Now I receive again pizza from Nero Pizza, you see here, and they offer us pizza, and for you they can give you franchise opportunity. Here I have Lynn book, which have a quite interesting story.
Thank you. Everybody's got an interesting story.
You are the owner of Transformizing, which you help women over 50?
Yes. I offer a program that's for groups where women over 50 who are struggling with anxiety, identity, feeling a little bit like age is, something that everything that's happening to them, it's because they're getting older and everything's sort of falling apart, that there's nothing they can do about it. They feel like when they can't sleep, they think it's to do with their age, but often it's a culmination of everything that I can help them work through, and the result is they finish the program sleeping so well, feeling confident, having more saying no a lot more, so that their yes is more valuable, so that they keep more boundaries. They're not so, obviously, often the women that I sort of attract and that I am similar to are very much people pleasers. So, and they like to help people. So, prioritizing themselves is not something that they do very well.
Oh no, because that was taught.
Yes, it's a inherent, yes, from being a mum as well. You become the person that helps everybody.
I just have a talk about this with my wife today when we had the coffee, and she told me about how was her childhood.
Yeah.
Because in Romania we grew up different than here, and most of the time our parents send us to the village side in the weekend or in the holidays, just to have their own time. But in my case, it was nice.
Yes.
In my wife's case, it wasn't.
Oh.
Because she was a girl, even she was a little one, her grandma put her to work too much.
Right.
And she was going and have nap, and she was working.
So a grandma was going for a nap and your wife was working.
Yeah. Which is not nice. In my case, I work a lot, but my grandparents give me a break.
Yeah.
Even say, do whatever you can, and every little helps.
Like Tesco.
Yes. But
yes, they were more giving you a little bit more flexibility.
Yes,
Whereas
I had a lot of free time. My wife, she didn't.
Yeah.
And I think she didn't. She wasn't let to play. She wasn't let to read. That's one of her trauma.
Wow, blimey.
Now she's reading a lot. If you see books there. At least now, only my daughter, she's bothering her to read. Sometimes when she's seeing my wife reading, she's doing as well, which is great.
Yeah.
As a parents, we learned a lot of stuff which wasn't good for us, and we're trying to give the right tools for my daughter to have a proper life. It's like what we didn't have, her to have it.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have those things that you were deprived of, like being able to go out and play rather than having to do all the work.
Yes. If I meet you for the first time now, can you tell me who is Lynn?
I'm a transformational therapist, I would say. That's the best description for me, because what I have got in my tools that I use with clients is that I'm able to work with the body and the mind to help transform their lives and help them to realise how working and understanding how their mind works, helping them with using hypnotherapy and meditation. And then also the body stores a lot of the emotions, so being able to process the emotions within the body can really help somebody and give them tools that they can then take away and use for the rest of their lives. It's not just a matter of relying on me for the rest of their lives. Things I give them in their therapy, they're able to use on a daily basis.
Yeah,
So
basically you are not giving the fish, you are teaching people how to fish.
I am, yes. I'm giving them a fishing rod instead of just giving them one fish, yes. So that's Lynn, the therapist. And then Lynn, the person, is appreciating everything that I've learned because it's helped me become the best version of me, enjoying my life, helping people have their life, enjoy their life more, and feel less anxious and feel more balanced. And and I've got a loving husband, 3 gorgeous sons with 3 beautiful daughter-in-laws. Well, I've got one that's not quite a daughter-in-law, but I know she will be. And then I've got 3 grandsons and lots of lovely family around that as well. My sister, my brother, my mum. I'm lucky still to have my mum around, so that's really lovely. And a dog. And I live on a houseboat on a canal.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
I love the name of Transformizing. How did you come with it?
Original work in therapy was one-to-one facing counsellor. So I worked in an environment where I was helping adult survivors of sexual abuse to come to terms with what had happened to them and help them move on forward from there. And I volunteered as that for quite a few years, well, a few decades actually, so 20 odd years I was working in that environment. And I had such amazing success where people were able to get on with their lives and, no longer feel suicidal, be able to stop taking drugs. There was all sorts of results which were brilliant. But the thing is that was always weekly for either months or years. So these people would be coming to me on a regular basis for months, perhaps even years, to get that result. In COVID, I retrained in a thing called rapid transformational therapy, which is, as it says, very rapid. So when I saw the results of clients, when they sat in front of me and I could see what was happening in front of me, it was amazing. And then for them to come out of that hypnotherapy and feel so different and have significant changes already, that was amazing. So it was like, the transformations are amazing. So it was Transformizing.
Yeah.
So that's why the name came.
Can you give me a success story about someone transform yourself?
Yes. Okay. Well, the one I was, originally when I first trained, literally only a few weeks after I did the training, and I hadn't finished it. I was literally, somebody who was mentoring me said, you can start practicing. And I thought that meant that I could practice completely. But what he meant was just taking somebody into the alpha state, which is the hypnosis, taking them to that deeper, relaxing state where you can access the subconscious mind. But actually, I thought he meant the whole lot. So I had got a really, really very anxious female relative, and it was the COVID, obviously. So she was really anxious and she needed help. And I knew that I could use this and hopefully help her. So I gave it my best. And it's only a two hour session that I give this session for, less than 2 hours it was. And the next day she was completely calm. Her friends couldn't believe it. She was like, I can't believe you. Yesterday you were almost, so uptight with this anxiety, and today you're so relaxed. I can't believe it. So because of that success, she then went on to utilize what I knew and what I could help her with to disengage from a really toxic relationship. So that was really good, because then she stopped being engaged in that relationship. She came away from it. And then a few months later, she really felt like she wanted to meet somebody who would be her ideal person. So I did another session with her, and part of what we do is we give the people a recording of what they want in their lives. So it's like attracting that and making it more a mindset, more of a habit. So I asked her, I said, look, just give me exactly what you want, the qualities in that person that you want, and tell me exactly what you want. And within, say about a month, she met that person. She said, he ticks every box that you've got there. She's now married to him and she's got a baby with him. So that's one of my success stories. Lots of others, but that one is sort of like, because it was my first, it's like my baby.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah.
You say you got this 90 days program for women over 50. What changes do you see in your clients when they are taking this program?
They get more confidence, they are able to sleep better, so they wake up more refreshed, they're not so tired all the time. They're able to take control of their lives instead of the life taking control of them. So they feel healthier, and they're able to say, as I said before, they say no more, so that their yeses are more valuable, and to put more boundaries there and look after themselves more, prioritise them. Yeah. And a lot of what happens is inside. From the outside, sometimes you can't see the change. It's only when you realise that all the changes have happened internally. So you can pretend to be confident and look like you're enjoying life, but then when you have this work, you do this work, you know that you're confident and you feel happier. So
can you tell me which one is the moment when these people are saying aha?
From word go. The first session when I introduce it and let them know about how the mind works and how you can the imagination can work for you and against you and things like that. That is initially the first step and the fact that they've committed themselves to looking after themselves, which in itself is a transformation, because they've often just put themselves on the back burner to look after everybody else's needs. So therefore, the fact that they've engaged in this already has taken them to a different place.
Oh, yeah, it's interesting. But you know what I found more interesting? It's you went from working in police,
yes,
into therapy.
Yes.
That's a big shift.
It does sound like quite a big difference, but actually it was quite a natural progression, because when I was in the police, I had to cut off from my emotions. So in order to deal with some horrendous situations that were, there was lots of things that were quite nasty that happened, some things that were distressing for the people involved. And so people found that they needed to talk to somebody, and sometimes I would be that person that they would talk to. And I would give them the space to talk and let them offload a little bit. Not always could I do that, but when I could, I did. And when they finished talking to me and they would say to me, that was really helpful, thank you for listening to me, I felt like that was something that I was good at. from that point of view.
I think people want like someone to listen.
Yeah.
At least to listen.
Yeah.
Not to say, oh, you're just supposed to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. So because of that, I felt like that was something that drew me to want to do more of that. And because of things that happened when I sort of carried on, had children, and things happened. So there was a few curveballs. So I had my third son, and then 2 weeks after I'd had him, my dad tried to take his life, so there was a lot of devastation, a lot of things going off. He ended up being taken into a mental health hospital. His wife wouldn't have anything to do with him, so it ended up being my responsibility and my sister and my brother's responsibility to look after him and make sure he was okay and just go and see the consultants and everything. So that was a lot of time that I hadn't got, because I've got 3 children, 1 2-week-old baby. And then other things happened, like I had a burglary. There was 2 burglaries happened in the house. I was moving house, and then there was some things that happened at work at the time. Obviously it was a few weeks after that, because I didn't go back to work after 2 weeks, but it was a progression of all these different things on top of each other that created this place where I just lost the plot. I was so anxious and I didn't know where to go. I didn't know, and my husband didn't know. I'd got this, young family, and I'd lost the plot. I didn't know where to turn to. So I went to the doctors, because that's what I thought I needed to do.
Yeah.
And the doctor just went, how much more of this story have you got? And it was like, really? So I realised there was such a need for people to be helped. And it was like, I want to do that. When I got better, when I found a way through it all and got to the other side, I wanted to do that. I wanted to be that person somebody could come to. So it was in the back of my mind. I was still working, and I'd moved, and there was an opportunity in a local paper to go and work as a volunteer to a charity where they help people who'd been abused in their childhood. And because I'd seen that firsthand from children that had that experience, and I had to help them, and the families and all that happened after that was revealed or whatever, there's such a lot of fallout from it. I just knew that those people that had that in their childhood needed a voice, needed to speak to somebody. So it really said to me, go for that. So I went and applied. So that's why I did that transfer from being a police officer.
We are very lucky these days. It's just because we have this help.
Yes.
Like, we have a lot of help. I mean, when I was young, it wasn't.
No.
In this moment when we record this podcast, I publish a podcast with Suicide Sucks.
Yes, I saw, yes.
And what Meg she's doing there, basically she's talking with people who've been on that position to take their life, and they're telling how they didn't, and that's quite inspiring. Before the podcast, I listened a few podcasts of hers, and even she had a guest from America, and that guy, he did a lot of things which, like, he was running away from police. I mean, it's not really a motive to kill himself, but he took them like a motive to kill himself. But he didn't.
No. Yeah.
But he's telling...
It's a catalyst, isn't it? It's
Yes.
Everything builds on top of each other. A bit like where I said about everything that happened. It gets to a point where they don't really think. Sometimes when they go into that suicidal place, they don't really think about it. It's sort of like an automatic. They're not thinking, I want to kill. They just do it because it's
exactly
no
what
other
we
option.
the animals are doing. How I said in that podcast with Mick. Usually when an animal is in danger or is running away, he stop after that a bit to take a breath, and he's calm himself down. But we are not doing that.
No.
We have the trauma and continue the life, and we are taking our trauma with entire life.
Yeah.
And after years, it's coming out.
Yeah.
Like, I see some traumas which I had from my childhood now. And even I need to, my wife, she told me, I need to see what is behind of my trauma, because I don't remember some stuff. like some parts. Like now I'm talking, maybe I forget some parts of discussion what we have,
Yeah.
and I said, is something wrong with my brain? And my wife, she said, you need to see what you are hiding.
Yeah.
It's something from the childhood. That's my challenge now, to find what it was so traumatizing for me if I try to forget things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's a protection.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, when I first started working for the charity, we weren't allowed to use hypnotherapy, so I didn't really ever look at doing hypnotherapy at the time because of that. And the reason behind that was it wasn't really accepted that people were telling the truth always when they were saying that they'd been abused in their childhood. People would not believe them because they didn't want to. But one of the things was it's like they were suggesting that if somebody was an adult and they decided to have hypnotherapy, and then in the hypnotherapy they revealed this abuse that they'd forgotten all about, and then they would bring it up, there was a suggestion that the hypnotherapist had put that suggestion into their mind. So it's called the false memory syndrome.
Okay.
And so that if they then decided that person wanted to take the abuser to court, it would be thrown out because that person had had hypnotherapy, because they would suggest the false memory syndrome. Yeah,
But
exactly.
it's not the way how to check
Exactly.
that.
It's not right.
Yeah.
It's not right that they did that, but that was a way of people in authority being able to protect those that they probably knew were not really, people like Jimmy Savile. They were protecting people like him from getting into trouble by putting that in there, suggesting that it's false memory syndrome. And I can remember, because of the fact that we worked for the charity, we used to go to London and do marches in London to say no excuse for child abuse. And there would be people standing at the bus stop with their hands in their ears because they didn't want to hear it.
Yeah, you know what I remember now? You know that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, Don't Look Up?
Yeah.
It's basically the same. Don't look up. Danger is in the sky. You see it, but don't look up. And that was the thing. Don't let it be controlled.
Yeah, exactly. No, they didn't want to know. There's people that, were abused in their childhood, told their parents, and it was somebody that was respectable, that you wouldn't ever believe. They would do so much good to hide the fact that they were being so abusive secretly and abusing these vulnerable children. And their parents or the people that wouldn't accept it, and they would be, told they were lying, and that happened. It still probably does happen, but this is why it was such an important job for me to do.
I want now to take a break because I think I torture myself with the pizza here and I'm hungry.
And me.
I had only a porridge today and
it's too much.
Oh yeah. Have which one you want?
I'll try
I think
both.
this is capricciosa or something, and
I'll try both.
One it's I think even with truffle oil.
Wow. Lucky.
And I don't know which one is with. This is wild mushrooms. I like mushrooms.
I love mushrooms. They're very good for you as well.
Well, I used to go and pick mushrooms in Romania. We have plum mushrooms. I don't know exactly, but I will put the picture and the name in English as well. But it's growing on the plum tree.
Right.
We can make them as spreadable.
All right. So like a jam.
Not a jam. It's it's food.
Yeah.
But it's spreadable.
Like a peanut butter or something.
Yeah,
but
ish.
with mushrooms.
A mushroom, pepper, maybe some tomatoes. We call it zakuska. You can find in the Polish shops something similar.
I was sitting having a drink with my mum, having a coffee outside somewhere when it was really warm, not that long ago, and there was a guy that came to talk to us, and he does a lot of podcasts, or no, YouTube, not podcasts, sorry. He does a lot of YouTube, and he goes out foraging in the woods near him with all the mushrooms, and he does. What are they called? They're just called YouTubers, are they? And then he does lots of other things as well. But that's one of his things that he likes to go into the woods and find things that he can use and eat at home, rather than buying. Rather than buying food, he can.
I'm very curious about the person because I want to do the same.
Yeah, it's I'll share it with you.
We used to do that in Romania.
It's quite interesting though. I'm quite interested in. We haven't got where I live. We have actually got thinking about it. We've got the moorings that our houseboat is on, and then at the top of the moorings is like a nature reserve. It's right next door to the railway, but I would imagine there might be stuff in there. Definitely the blackberries are really good in there because they're not really trampled on that much. With it being a nature reserve, there's limited people walk through it.
We got some mushrooms which they have a bit of garlic taste.
What, actually naturally?
Yeah.
Ah. Well, when you walk, I don't know whether when it's a certain time of the year, I can smell wild garlic.
Oh.
Yeah.
We used to do that in Romania every spring and make like a stew with those leaves or put them in the sandwich. We took like 3 bags and it's very healthy.
Well, it's good for you. It helps purify the blood.
I think this one is with the truffle oil.
Yeah.
Because I feel it different. I really miss mushrooms too. But I don't know how I think it's like porcini mushroom. You find them in the store dried. But we used to get like
They're going
bags.
to be. They're not all dry, are they? But I would imagine it's easier to use dry ones. It'll last longer and everything else. Nothing better than fresh, though, is there really?
Yeah, but we used to pick them and they put them to dry. And when you need it, you just make a stew, and it was. I really love that because it have a different taste. What is your favorite food?
I've got to say, as much as I love lots of food, I'm a foodie, but I do love an Indian curry, and my favourite is chicken tikka masala, even though I've tried so many really good curries that are like a party in my mouth. I don't like anything too strong, too hot. I like tasty. But there's loads of food I love, I can't. When somebody said to you, if you had to choose a meal for your last meal, what would you choose? It'd be like, I want everything. There's so many. But I think I default to chicken tikka masala. But I've had some beautiful South Indian curries. There's a beautiful restaurant near where I live, and they do fantastic fish curries. I love them.
Fish curries.
Fish curries, yeah, fish Indian, but they're from South India.
I'm not very big fan of curries.
No.
But I like tikka masala.
Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah, I think if I'm not sure, I'll go for that one. It's like my go-to. But I do love a lot of them. When people say, "Oh, just try this," I will. I love, I'm not afraid of trying things. My husband, when he was growing up, his mum and dad had fish and chip shops, so he knows exactly how to cook chips to perfection. So whenever we have chips out, I just say, I can't. It's not the same. They don't taste as nice as yours. And he cooks fish with the batter just right, the beer batter.
I was a child when my mother didn't have time to cook, or maybe we didn't like what she cooked. we have loads of potatoes because we've been harvesting them, and our to-go food, it's just peel some potatoes and fry them, and with some eggs or sausage. And I think that was to-go food. Chips.
Yeah.
We grew up with chips, basically, homemade chips, and even with garlic sauce. That was made by us.
So what is your favourite food? I'm assuming you're a foodie with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like chicken. I really love, I don't know why, Romanian shawarma. It's a bit different, like chicken wrap. They put garlic in it. I like garlic. I grew up with garlic because I think because I'm
You're not a vampire then?
No, yeah. I think that's why we eat so much garlic.
Because of where you come from.
Yeah.
I think out of the two, I think that's my favourite.
Okay.
Is that yours?
No, I like this one as well, but that one have a different taste. That's for sure. The other people who I promote, they are Hungarians, and they did a new product, cheesy chimney cake.
I've heard of chimney cake before.
It looked like a chimney, and basically when you are getting them fresh, you see the vapors coming from inside. Now we are coming back from the pizza. It was very good.
Very good.
We still have some left. At least now my stomach is pleased.
Mine too.
I want to ask you about your training, because you've been training on everything from RTT to somatic work.
Yeah, yeah.
How those skills come together in your session?
Well, really, breathing is very important in both the hypnotherapy and in bodywork. So it's automatic that, you teach somebody how to breathe properly and give them the techniques. And some breathing techniques, they're so good for calming the whole nervous system and helping physically with, strengthening your diaphragm, helping you lower your blood pressure. So automatically, many a time I've just taught that and done the hypnotherapy, and together that's mind and body. You're working with the mind and body, you're processing things through your body by breathing and allowing things to let go and visualizing things. So it's automatic that you work with the mind and body, I think, anyway, but this is sort of taking it to the next degree where you actually understand why you're working with the body as well, using all different kinds of techniques that will help somebody. So saying, somebody you're working with is really struggling with, like they've gone through a really traumatic event with you, then you just get them to stand up and shake everything off, that's an embodiment tool, that's straight away. So it's quite simple because the body and mind are so intrinsically linked. Basically, the heart apparently reacts to something quicker than your brain. So when you see something that stimulates, there's been research done on it. This is not me saying it from anything other than research. So if you think about it, your body responds to something before your brain does.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Once I wasn't able to deal with some emotion, and I felt like here on my chest, and I started smoking.
Yeah, breathe. That's
Yeah,
what
but
when you're smoking, one of the things you're doing is breathing in.
Yes.
And breathing out. And if you think about that, then that is what. Okay, you
can do it without.
You use the nicotine and you use the smoke, but if you just think about that as something that you do to look after yourself, and if you're thinking about how to process that emotion, you don't even have to think what the emotion is. You just need to acknowledge it, know it's there, and then help yourself release that out of your body.
When we meet first time, I told you I can't use hypnotherapy, but basically reading a book.
Yeah.
And that person, Alan Carr, who
Yes.
wrote The Easy Way, How to Quit Smoking,
Yes.
he went for therapist. He was smoking 2 or 3 packs of cigarettes per day. He said by accident, because he said the hypnotherapist didn't know exactly what he did, but he did something. And that's why he did some research and wrote a book.
Right.
Now, I'm not sure, but he owns some clinics to help people to quit smoking, even to lose weight now.
Right. Yeah. I know that he does day sessions where he gets
Yeah.
people to go in and have the day, but it's not him now. He's got people that do it for him because they've
Yes,
learned how
yes.
to do it.
I mean, I think he have everywhere in the world.
Mm.
But the idea is basically you are using your brain like a tool
Yeah.
for giving up to addiction. Not you are addicted to the nicotine. It's basically the act.
Yeah.
Because I heard a lot of excuses. Say, yeah, but what I will do with my hands if I'm not smoking? Really? What excuse is that? Because you can do a lot of things.
Absolutely.
They are
yeah.
not made
yeah,
for
yeah.
holding the cigarettes.
No. But you know, when you think about it, everything that we do is a habit. So if you think about when you're driving, initially when you first get in a car, you don't know how to drive, you don't know how to, you know, when to press the pedal and things like that. But when you learn how to do it, you can go in the car, you can get to somewhere, you can't even remember how you drove there because your subconscious mind has taken over. So that's when a habit has become that intrinsic inside you that you can do it without even thinking. So some of these things will be from that because you've been doing that for so long that it's automatic. You know, like somebody will have a coffee or have the first alcoholic drink, and they'll have to, it's like, I need to light a cigarette because that's what I would normally do, and I've always done it for God knows how many years. So there is a lot to do with a habit as well there.
That was one of my things. It's when I didn't drink anything. I stopped even drinking to go to the party. I realized I don't really need the drink to have fun.
No, you don't.
But
You
in the
certainly
beginning,
don't.
I was thinking, how I will have fun without drinking.
How will you have fun and remember when you've had a drink?
Yeah, but
because sometimes, you know, people come away and they can't. I had a really good time, but actually I can't remember much about it. Well, is that really having a good time? So there is a lot to be said about not drinking.
Yes. But I discovered, you can have fun without drinking.
Absolutely.
Or you can drink a beer or two, like less, not a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
I realize now these days there are many coaches, therapists, but what do you think makes your way of working to stand out?
Because I don't just work with the mind or the body, I work with all of you. So therefore, there's the holistic approach with everything. So, and the fact that I can give somebody things to do that they can use long after they've had the therapy with me. They don't need to come back to me all the time. Obviously there might be something that they don't know how to deal with, but generally they have the fishing rod, so they're able to do their own fishing. They don't need to keep coming back. So I feel like that is a positive thing for people who see me, that they get the whole body, mind and spirit working, understanding more about themselves, understanding about how they work and how they can make different choices, because knowledge is power, understanding is power.
Yes, that's why I started this podcast. I want to be a millionaire. I will not say I'm not doing this for money, but I want to learn how I can achieve that level.
You will.
And,
because you want to.
And for each guest, I learn something, which if you knew me 2 years ago, I'm not even close like how I'm now.
Yeah, you're learning so much from it.
Yes.
That's brilliant. I love it.
It's just because I'm taking action now.
Yes, and you're learning from the people that you're listening to, and they've all got a story to tell, which is always interesting. And I think you learn more from a story anyway. People telling stories is actually better than people just telling you facts.
And I'm going now. This year I start to go to networking events, and I learn so many things Like, I met a guy who is martial artist, and he got a business, and he wrote 3 books. One of them is Life as Black Belt. He teach us a technique of breathing.
Yeah. It's like a physiological sigh. There's a...
Yeah, but
That's a physiological sigh. So that's like releasing the stress. So what's his for? What was his for? More for the martial arts?
No, he said you can use that day by day. Yeah, in martial arts, you need breathing.
You do, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a big part of it as well, isn't it? With all of those, like Tai Chi is about the movement and the breathing.
He said to stay straight and put our hand in the back how much we can. And remember the position.
Right.
And after that, to close the eyes and do it again. And you feel
And
you've been able...
visualize how much further you can go
Yeah,
back.
you go how much you can see, but if you don't see, you can go much further. And
when
because
you're visualizing how far you can go back back a lot further. Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically we put our limitation by just seeing. It's like, I'm not able to do it, but if you don't try it.
Yeah.
Now I want to have a trip back in your childhood. Growing up, what do you want it to be when you're an adult?
I wanted to be a teacher.
Okay, you didn't go far away.
No, I'm very close now, and I have been in the past. When I worked for the charity, I did some teaching, so there was places where we would go and work with people like the social services and people who worked with survivors. Potentially they would work with survivors to help them understand what they would be going through when they asked them to do certain things, just give them more of an understanding. But now I'm teaching to give people the fishing rod. And so one of the catalysts for me teaching was to, when I was in my very early years, I was probably only about 5 or 6. I loved maths. I used to love maths, and I wanted always for people to give me maths so that I could work it out and then take it back. And this particular teacher, she was, you could tell she loved her job and she loved children, and you used to have to go up to her desk and let her mark your paperwork, your maths. And I loved it because I remember the smell. She used to have a coffee breath. She used to smell of coffee, and I loved the smell of the coffee, even though it was probably secondhand. It didn't matter. It smelled lovely at the time. It was probably instant and probably camp coffee or whatever, but it was, for some reason, I really remember that smell. And the way that she was with the children and how much she loved it. And I think that's what I've replicated, even though I didn't know it. And because when I finished school, I was saying I wanted to go into teaching there and then, straight away from school. But then other things happened, and I ended up being in the police. And it was a transition and a half, that was really. It was... Basically, there was an opportunity, and there was an encouragement as well of a lot of sport within the police, and I loved swimming, and I was quite active, so it was encouraged for me to do that. I joined at the same time as Christopher Dean, so he was in the police. The ice skater. Do you know Torval and Dean? Have you heard of them?
No.
They're.
I will check after.
Yeah. Well, they won the Olympics in world skating, ice skating, dancing, and they're on their last tour. They're in the 60s now, and they've actually stayed together as partners and gone through their career, their whole life, up until they're in the 60s. They're 66, I think, now. I joined with Christopher.
I think when I was child, I was looking at ice skating, like the dancing one.
Yes.
But I don't remember too much.
Probably before your time.
Oh, yeah.
You youngster.
That
you
was
youngster, Marion, you youngster.
Yeah. It was an interesting sport to watch. I'm not very big with football.
No.
I played football, but I'm still not a big fan.
No. I'm more or less certain you would enjoy the Bolero. Bolero, I think it's called Bolero. They danced to that and they won the Olympics.
That one I think I will love. So when you've been a child, or maybe a bit later teenager, let's say, anyone comes to you for advice?
Oh gosh, no, not really. Well, funnily you should say that. I did seem to be the one that would help people, so that's part of my character, I think, because when I think back, there was a friend of mine who really got bullied, and I think I literally helped her survive because she was really bullied at school, and I was there for her at school. And then at night, if she was really struggling, we used to be on the phone. She used to tell me how bad things, she felt bad, so she used to talk to me on the phone. So I think I have that kind of already found my position where I felt it was important to give somebody a voice and let them hear what they were saying. But I would even go as far as saying I would protect people. So if something was happening and there was two people bullying one person, and I would go in and say...
I think I was the same. Sometimes I was bullied because of that.
What, because you...
You help, yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
I
It was
was
weird.
even beaten.
No. It was weird because when I stood up to them and said, pick on somebody your own size, they wouldn't. I was their size, and I realised that when I was saying it was coming out of my mouth, and I, oops, I'm saying this and that I am their size. But because I stood up to them, they backed off. They didn't want to know. It was, yeah, it was...
In my case, I was bullied as well after.
Oh, yeah, okay.
One of my bully from my neighborhood apologized last year.
Really?
So, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it was a post on the Facebook and said, I know we gave you a hard time and I'm so sorry for that.
But sometimes, I know that it's contrary to what I work for, but I think sometimes the hard times make you a better person because in spite of what's happened to you, you've pushed through and you are determined and you're resilient. And I think the stories that I hear, in spite of everything, where you think, gosh, how did they survive this? Because the mum was abusive, the dad was abusive, they got nobody to turn to. There was one person in their lives that made all that difference. And that was enough to keep them resilient, to survive it, and to become the best parents themselves. I've seen it. I've been witness to that sort of amazing ability to, in spite of their own childhood, bring children up into in a wonderful family and giving them everything that they didn't get. I think sometimes it's important to realise, even though you try and protect your children from everything and you don't want them to suffer anything, sometimes out of that negativity, there's a lesson to be learned that will make you a better person for it.
In my childhood, I was thinking to myself, I'm not good enough because I was told, oh, I'm not good enough. And I felt ugly because I didn't have a girlfriend.
Oh.
Until late.
Oh.
But that changed. But that's the thing. What you live in that period is temporary.
Yeah.
Because life change.
Yeah. And some people, unfortunately, stay with that belief and don't change, though.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Is it a matter of you decided, no, I'm not going to feel like this anymore, or did it just happen that you managed to attract a female to reassure you that you weren't ugly?
I think I create my own world.
We all do.
Yeah, let's say from the beginning, I was playing by myself, making wooden swords and playing in the forest. I was doing a lot of things by myself. But I did even the playing with others. But after I grew up, I don't know, I was trying to be like a joker. I don't know. And even at 16, I think I started drinking, which was a quite young age.
Yeah.
But it was not like a daily drinking, but more in a cool way drinking.
No, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't start smoking. Even a lot of my friends were smoking in
Peer
that
pressure.
period.
I mean, I would imagine that drinking was a peer pressure thing as well, that somebody had got hold of some alcohol and it was oh, come on, let's have this.
Yeah, I mean, in our country, the alcohol it was very accessible. I mean, we had in the house
Yeah.
loads of them. My grandparents was making hundreds of liters of brandy.
Wow.
My father had hundreds of liters of wine. Alcohol,
What they
it wasn't a
made?
problem.
Did they make
Yeah.
it? Wow.
I mean, we collect the plums to make the alcohol. We collect the grapes to do the alcohol. The alcohol
You even got in the barrel and put your feet on it, did you?
yeah, we didn't do that. Yeah, we put it in the barrel, but we have a tool to do that.
Okay. That's old-fashioned.
Well, we have machines that, yeah, but even that is more natural.
Yeah.
On the village side, you walk barefoot.
Yeah.
I mean, we used to.
Yeah.
It's grounding. Basically, you are connected.
You're connected to the earth.
Yeah. And
now you can do it with a crystal in your shoe.
yeah, 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 exactly. Your younger self, if she's thinking how you are now, what do you
Yeah.
think she's thinking about?
I think she'd be happy with who I am because it was what she wanted to do. She wanted to help people and she loved to teach, or she loved the idea of teaching. So I think I've managed to make her proud. I
Oh,
think
nice,
so.
nice. You've been through really tough chapters, like being a mom, with the crisis with your dad, and those big changes from the work. What helped you to keep going with anxiety when
Yeah.
it hit you hard?
Yeah. I think really having the children in the first place, they keep you grounded. They kept me present in the present moment, because when you're with children you can't be anywhere else but with them, so therefore you're more present, and they challenge you and they give you fun, but they also give you they know how to press all your buttons and everything else. So that really helped me in some ways, and it was obviously something to keep me focused. And I had somebody at the time, a friend, who was able to point me in the right direction to get the help. So she was brilliant. She gave me the space to listen to me and know that what she knew where to go, because there wasn't that many people who did counselling at that time. It wasn't even a thing. It was like a really occasional person would be a therapist. There wouldn't be like there is now. There's so many people there to help. That was what kept me, the children, and that the person who helped me find somewhere to go so I could process what I needed to move on.
Everyone needs a person who is there to just listen.
Yeah.
Not say anything. Like,
No.
oh, I understand you.
Yeah.
I know what you're going through.
Yeah, it does help. And that's what I say all the way through. I realised that was something that I enjoy. And enjoy is the wrong word. I think I appreciate that's my role in life, and I do get a lot out of it. As much as I give, I get something back in return, because I'm following somebody called David Hamilton now, and he talks about kindness, and kindness is the opposite to stress and anxiety. So if you witness an act of kindness, if you give somebody an act of kindness, it stops you from feeling anxious when you do that. And I do feel like a lot of when I give, I feel so much better. If I help somebody and they benefit from it, it's not egotistical. It's not, oh, I did that, because I feel when they say, oh, you've done this, it's not me, you've done it. I've helped you to see how to do it. So
yeah, but you're still feeling proud.
I feel proud of them, and I feel glad that I've been able to help them to transform their lives.
Later, I feel that as well, because I think I'm doing the same. I'm helping with whatever I can.
Yes.
Now, lately, I help people with businesses to start businesses.
Yeah.
Because apparently, I come with ideas, but it's better if someone executes them.
Yes.
But I can give everything what they need to do.
Yeah.
And supervise.
Yeah. And inspire.
Yeah.
Yeah, and encourage. I think that in itself is and you get something back from it, because you can see that what they've done as a result of you helping them. It's not about, for me, it's not about me saying, oh, I did that. It's about oh, I'm really glad that they've done that. That makes me happy because they feel happier. That's where I'm at.
If you have someone, you don't know how the future is going to be after.
No.
It's like a domino effect,
Yeah.
If you are doing something good.
But it's what they used to call it, a butterfly effect, didn't it?
Exactly.
Or the ripple effect as well, yeah.
Yeah. What was the biggest mindset shift what you had before you start this?
The biggest mindset change. Probably this, really, for me to transfer my skills from being a volunteer to doing it for free to being somebody who's doing it for a business and to earn money from it, really. So knowing my worth and knowing that what I give is valuable. It's got a lot of potential for the person who receives it, and knowing that needs to be an exchange, like you say. Sometimes paying forward can help, so you know that you give something, and at some point that will come back in a different form, but it will come back. It might not come back from them, but it will come back indirectly from them.
Yeah.
But I, trying to work out how to make this my business, where I earn from it, is the biggest mind shift, I think. And I've done it. I've managed to make it a business.
That's good.
Not a profitable one yet, because I've spent a lot of money on getting myself the training that I need, and it's invaluable, the training that you get, because you need that to know.
Even it's not cheap.
No, but the value of that is worth it, because you get so much from that, don't you? So yeah, I think investing in yourself and knowing that you're worth it is a mindset change, really, for me.
I know you said it was very scary for you to go in front of the camera.
Yeah.
To promote basically your business.
Yeah, to promote what I do, because people say to you, how do they know who you are, what you're doing, if you don't go out there and tell them? But initially, when I was scared, it would take me about 50 takes to do one shot, 1 minute recording.
Why?
Because it was never perfect enough. Yeah.
Oh, I'm still on that stage.
Yeah. But because of the fact that it was me on my own, and take ages. But I realised that what I want to do is make sure, even if I put out a message, I don't get any response from it, I know that there's people that are watching it, even though they might not like it, put a comment on. There's people that watch it, because I've had people contact me that have never liked any of my posts, that have never commented on any of my posts, but they've come to me directly on a direct message, or they've sent me a message on an email.
Okay.
So they have seen me and they've appreciated what I've said. And sometimes they've asked me a question for some help, they've struggled with, they've got, last week I did a 3-day challenge on sleep, how to get yourself back into resetting your sleep pattern and getting yourself back in there, and offered a free audio for those that signed up. As a result of that, this particular lady came to me through a message, never saw her like anything, but she asked me if I could help her because she got twins. They were only 2 years old and they'd not slept through the night since she's had them, and they wake up from 11 o'clock onwards every hour, on the hour sort of thing. So she never got a really good night's sleep. So I sent her lots of information. I said, I've not worked with that, but I can help you by giving you lots of different things to try and different places to go to, and I'll do my best to help you in that way, but I can't help you directly. I can give you information that might help you. And my posts, it's not always a matter of how many likes I get or how many comments. I don't invest my worry about that. I just know that my posts have got a meaning and they give a sort of a message to somebody who wants to hear it, to help them, whether it is one person or 10 people, it doesn't matter. It's that ripple effect again of giving a message out that might help that one person to make a difference.
But it's quite possible, like, people to watch it but not to react to it. Because absolutely. I got, when I posted that clip with Suicide Suck, I got 5,000 views.
Wow.
That was 4 days ago.
Wow.
and no one react.
No.
No, it was like 15, 20,
Yeah.
something like that, but from 5,000.
But you see, that's the thing. It's something that is still, a bit like in the 90s, sexual abuse wasn't accepted as being okay to talk about. People would be like putting their hands in their ears, like I said earlier. So something like suicide is still got a stigma around it. So if they start to like it or comment on it, then that brings attention to them, and they don't want to do that. They don't want to bring attention to them because it's those people that need to hear what.
Or maybe
So
they
you were
say
saying,
you're
or-
attention seeker. It can be
Yeah.
that as well,
I
because
think it's really sad that happens.
Yeah.
It's really sad that people feel judged. Funnily enough, when I was talking to that lady who had the twins who weren't sleeping, she said she was so grateful for me helping her because she said she's asked for help before and she's been judged. How can anybody judge that? It's beyond comprehension that people should judge somebody who's struggling with the twins not sleeping.
what do you like the most about running Transformizing today compared to the structural you had before?
I love the fact that what I do helps people and helps them to live a better life. So that in itself is rewarding.
And that is
But
possible.
I suppose really when I was working for the charity, I was volunteering for the charity, so therefore I wasn't getting paid. But that's gone now anyway. That charity is no longer exists, unfortunately. So, but the structure, yeah, I miss that a bit because I think sometimes working for somebody, it's almost like I'll work for somebody better than I'll work for myself. So I prioritise other things when I'm working for myself. So, like, people get poorly, so I'll go and, like, my mum's not always well, so I'll go and help my mum. So I take my time off what I'm doing in my business. So sometimes it's not the best thing, but when I focus on my business, I love what I do. I love understanding more about the body and the mind and the soul and everything in between. I love understanding more. I love learning. So that's another thing I love. I love creating audios for my clients. I love working one-to-one. I really enjoy the group work as well, and having them tell me, like one of the sessions I had recently where all of them that were on the group, each one had a massive shift that week, and it was so rewarding to hear how much what they're doing has changed their lives. That it's just that, yeah, just I'm not saying it's any better. Well, I guess what I'm saying is working for the charity one-to-one and doing the long time working with a client has its rewards, but this is even better because it's quicker. I'm getting more results quicker, and the people are benefiting so much better.
Do you work even with young women?
Yeah, people say you need to have a niche, because if you try and tell everybody everything, you're casting your net too wide, and not everybody will hear. Not anybody. The people that you want to hear. So what you're talking to is the people who are like you, like I was a few years ago when I had my second bout of anxiety, when I was in my 50s, and thinking that this is it, this is all I've got to put up with. This is me. And even though I got the RTT, I realised there was something else that I needed to do. So then I found the body embodiment work to go along to help people continue to have those transformations longer. So the hypnotherapy is a great start, but then to have these other embodiment tools to keep you going and keep you balanced and keep you, even though life throws you a curveball, you've got every chance of staying balanced and calm. Not totally, because obviously every now and again there's something that really hits you hard, but generally you can bounce back a lot quicker. You've got the tools to be able to do something that will help you. So it's brilliant, really, what I've picked up since doing this extra work. So what I'm doing is I'm aiming to talk to that client, but other clients in between I've worked with. Even though I've spoken to that age group, other younger people speak are hearing me and come to me. It's not just people who are over 50. People
Yes.
younger than 50, in the 30s, in the 20s, have been to me as well.
Let's imagine, like when you are on job interview.
Yeah.
So where you see yourself in
Job
5 years?
Where do I see myself in 3 years' time?
Yeah. With your transformizing.
Oh my goodness. I'm going to have lots of clients who've been through the program and one-to-one, and have a community where they are able to share their journeys and, just encourage each other. And the ripple effect of them understanding more about themselves and passing that on to their grandchildren or their children, and helping,
Yeah, that's going to be passed on.
spreading the word, and knowing that there's a better way of, processing those, instead of going through the trauma and doing nothing about it, not breathing, not doing anything, being able to stop, listen to the body, process what is going on for them, being more emotionally intelligent.
That's a mark in humanity.
Yeah.
Basically, you are changing the way, the old mentality, which is kind of abusive.
Yeah. Hopefully that works. That works for the benefit of the world.
Yes.
Generally.
What is something what you learn in the hard way, whatever, if it's in business or in the life in general?
I haven't given myself a voice. I've been there for other people, but neglected myself. So now I know that I need to be verbally saying yes, no, keeping my own boundaries. So that was a big, all the way through everything that I've done. I would say sometimes I've neglected me for the sake of what I'm doing.
Oh yeah, setting the boundaries.
Yeah, keeping myself in check, really, and sort of supporting myself, not just supporting other people.
Yeah.
Being an advocate for myself instead of allowing people to take too much of me.
Yeah. I understand.
Saying enough is enough.
If someone listening right now and they are stressed and scared, what big change they can do, and what you will say to them?
This will pass. You won't always feel anxious.
Yes.
You can do something, and you can do it now, and just stop and just take a deep breath in. Just breathe and let it go. Don't try and make it happen, but just let yourself just breathe.
Good advice.
And obviously there's so much that I can do to help you with your anxiety. Let's talk really and see where we can, whether you access my program as a DIY so that you can just go through all of the program without seeing me, or you want to see me one-to-one, or you want to go on the program.
Where we can find that?
I'm on Facebook as Transformizing Me. I'm on Instagram, the same, Transformizing Me. I have got a YouTube and a LinkedIn, but they're not really up and ready yet. But I have actually got a website as well, so you can see a little bit more about me if you're interested on transformizing.co.uk.
I will put the details in the description.
Thank you.
I will put in my website as well, because it's more easy after that to find it on Google.
Oh, thank you. Much appreciate.
Welcome. When we talk before this interview, you said fear is a false evidence appearing real.
Yes.
What you can tell us about it?
So our imagination is amazing. It can really help us. People use imagination to create books, fictional books. They create. They envisage.
Art.
They envisage something that they can see as an invention. Somebody had the thought that that something could fly. Somebody thought that they could go to the moon, and it happened because of a person's imagination. The only trouble is that we're very good at imagining the worst case scenario, and that happens to be when we can see how something can really go badly wrong. So that is a fear of something really going badly wrong when actually it's not got any evidence. And if there was a study done, and apparently only 4% of what we worry about ever comes true. So what are we doing? Worrying and fearing what might never happen. So that is what I mean by false evidence appearing real.
Did you see Inside Out, the movie?
I have, yes, I have.
In the second one, they say
It's
about
very good.
anxiety and
It's very good at describing exactly what anxiety is all about. Definitely worth a watch.
Yes.
Yes, a good explanation.
Yeah, I think my daughter, she didn't understand yet.
No,
Yet.
but don't you think though there's a subliminal message to them, even
Yes.
though on a different level they're picking it up, because when I work with clients, obviously that is what we do. We go into their subconscious to find out what is at the root cause of something that they've got a problem with, and sometimes those messages that they picked up are from somebody that they heard something and they made their own conclusion. They interpreted it how they thought it was meant to be, and so it's how they interpret something that they hear or see. Her interpretation of that might come into later on. She'll realise when you go back to a scene that's all to do with them interpreting something. So it's helped them when they were a child. So say if you have a problem with speaking in public, so going on stage, you get stage fright. Yeah. And so, but not stage fright as such, but you get something like a really bad panic, like a stomach upset, and you need to go to the loo. As soon as you think you've got to go up on stage and talk and do public speaking, your stomach's like a tightly knot, and you need to go to the loo. And it's like, why all of a sudden does my body do this? And what's happened is, in your, when you go back to that scene, I'm talking fictional here, but sort of a scenario is that you go back to a scene that's all to do with being at school, being made to go to the front of the class because you've been up to no good, perhaps, as a 5-6-year-old, you've probably got yourself into trouble, and going to the front of the class and having an accident and thinking, and the kids are all laughing at you and thinking, I never want to do this ever again. I never want to stand up in front of a lot of people and be in front of a lot of people, because I'd rather die. I'd rather die than do that. And your mind, because your mind is wired to keep you safe, well and protected, because you need to survive. Yeah. That's the whole point of a human or an animal, is to survive. It will create a problem so you don't put yourself in that position, because you might die if you do, because you've already said it to yourself. And that's how amazing your mind is, that it takes you literally from that moment on. And unless you address that, unless you know it or understand it, then you could carry on having that issue every time you want to go and do some public speaking or go on stage. Nerves are good for you though, aren't they? Because they keep your adrenaline going. So in some ways it's a good thing to have some nerves.
I have one more question.
Okay.
It's food related.
Oh, okay, good. I like food.
It's a food to share. Basically, if you want to recommend a food to someone, what they must try.
Oh, well, it's chicken tikka masala.
Oh, okay.
You see, the thing is, I do like an Indian curry, and I do like lots of different ones, but my go-to is chicken tikka masala, and if you haven't tried it, you don't know what you're missing.
Yeah.
But my husband would argue, because he said any curry is no good and he doesn't like them. But
I don't like
tasty. I like tasty things, and I feel like that just hits the spot for me. But there's loads of food I could share and like.
I think my next project is going to be on my website. I will put a food map, where you find different kind of food.
Yeah.
Even Romanian one.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for the pizza. It was really nice.
You can have some more.
Thank you. Lovely.
And Thank you for coming.
You're
and
welcome.
we are going to
Lovely
see.
to speak to you
Yes.
and have time with you, and reflecting on this journey has been really good for me. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, and I want to see what you are doing basically in
Yeah.
the action. Thank you.
You're welcome.